Hi guys, welcome back to another episode with us. Today we have a pretty, I would say, touchy topic.
Yeah, it could definitely get touchy because you don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but you have to be real.
You gotta be real with yourself
Yep.
and real with your choices, I guess.
Yeah.
But today we're going to be talking about how to pick a coach.
Mm-hmm.
So we have some main categories that we're going to discuss, and then each has a subtopic that we'll get into a few, some we'll just touch on. But
Yeah. So
the
our
first
first
category is going to be questions to ask yourself. You know, the first thing is, how knowledgeable are you? So there's some coaches that are going to explain why they're doing something, implementing it. There's other coaches that just say, here's your plan, go do it.
It's very common to get a cookie cutter plan. People are becoming a lot more aware, especially with social media. But this was a lot more common a few years ago, but it still happens. I have most of my clients come to me from other coaches, and I always have them send me their old plan just for reference about like where their macros were and what they were doing to work out. And you know, I still am getting these meals that say like meal 1 through 6, egg whites and almonds and chicken, broccoli on the side, and this is their off season.
Off season, like to have a meal plan on off season, if it's the same exact foods, it's scary. Not only for your mental health, but for your gut health. And eliminating food groups or just eating the same exact foods can really mess up your digestive digestive system.
Definitely.
So some people do really well, you know, if even just getting a very basic plan, because they're so knowledgeable, they just implement their own knowledge with that minimal structure. But if you're someone who's not that knowledgeable in just health, exercise, everything.
Yeah, exercise in general. Yeah, like does your coach have an app that you can see the videos? Or do they have their own way to show you the videos? Because if they don't, how
are you supposed to learn form? So that brings us to another one: in person versus online.
Yes.
If you're not super experienced with working out, maybe you need an in-person coach. Or if you feel like you just want more attention, that one-on-one attention, to meet up with your coach in person, like have them look at you.
Yeah, like for posing and stuff. If you want your coach to do posing, having a local coach, that's another perk.
Cost and politics next. How much can you afford?
Yeah, coaches aren't cheap.
No, good ones aren't.
Yeah, no, and there are a lot of teams out there. Some are definitely, you get expensive as your demand goes up. So I get why certain coaches cost more. But you also have to remember that cost doesn't equal good coaching. A lot of coaches nowadays, it's not just the coach anymore, it's them and their team.
You're paying for that group and you're paying for like the demand, but you're not necessarily getting
the quality.
Yeah, so do your research. And also like too, I've heard some people are like, yeah, my coach only charges me $20 a month. That's a little bit scary to me. That's a little bit alarming. Like
if they give you a 3-month plan for $100, you're getting a PDF.
I would be aware. I would definitely ask a lot of questions. There are definitely some new coaches that maybe they're just not charging very much because they're trying to get their name out there, or like maybe they just want to help people. But it does. It raises questions.
It definitely raises questions. So be aware that if you are getting something that cheap, it's most likely click and send.
I would say politics isn't as important when you're at like regionals or maybe even nationals, but at a pro level, it's not necessarily that politics will come into play with like placing like, okay, this is your coach, this is why you get first. But sometimes it's easy to get overlooked.
Yeah.
But if the judges know your coach and they know who you are, they know not to forget you. You won't be overlooked.
Exactly. It's easier to see a familiar face and zone in on them than it is to see, oh gosh, you have to think national level judge. They've seen all the NPC before, like a show like Tampa. It's so big. How many people did they see?
There was like
before
300. There was like I think 250 NPC. So let's say they saw 75 at least bikini girls, and then they're about to see another 35 pro girls.
Yep.
They just see the same thing over and over and over. Same color suits, same hair, same makeup, same shoes. It's unless you stand out, unless your posing makes you stand out or something going on, it's easy to get forgotten and overlooked.
Yeah. Knowing people is never a bad thing.
Yeah.
So
it's something to consider, how far down the road do you plan on going, and how long do you want to stay with this particular coach.
I agree.
So,
yeah.
Those are just questions to ask yourself. Next, we have questions to ask your coach.
Okay.
You could do this like a consultation call. If they don't do consultation calls, maybe back and forth email or text.
Yeah, but if you are looking for a coach and they don't have the time
to answer these questions,
then that's a red flag.
Oh yeah.
Because what are they doing this for? Are they doing it for the client, or are they doing it for
the money?
The money.
Yeah.
So
the first point we have is like strategies and values. So I mean, that could just entail so much, but like
so much.
What do they value? Do they value being ready early, being ready on time? Do they implement high carb versus low carb?
Like a coach who values if it fits your macros over flex or
meal
meal plans.
Yeah,
so that's a
another
huge
question.
one.
Yeah, is your coach going to give you just macros and you do it on your own? Or are they going to give you a meal plan? And if you're experienced, you could do either. But if you're a newbie, IFYM might not be the best for competing specifically.
Yes.
Lowest possible calories. So
okay, so that's going to be an interesting thing to ask, because you're going to have coaches that are going to lie straight up.
Yeah.
Something to be aware of, like if you go to our last episode, talking about like your metabolism, we kind of touched on sometimes you're going to have to go low. Mm-hmm. But where are you starting at? So if they don't immediately
where
ask,
do you stop? Where's the cutoff?
Exactly. Like
where's
like
the scary? Where's that scary number? For me, like as a coach, it's so hard to say, but like I would say like 10 times body weight ish.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So if you're weighing 120 pounds, 1,200 calories might be my cutoff. And like everything is circumstantial. You hear horror stories, like even just pro level, where they're on 700 calories a day doing 3 hours of Stairmaster.
I've personally seen it firsthand. It happens. Does your coach work for
are they sponsored?
Yeah, specific company, because they're going to throw that at you.
Yeah.
They might be making money off of it.
Like commission.
And sometimes they have really good supplements behind it. Things from NutriShop, for instance, that I recommend to all my clients. I'm not sponsored by them.
But you're selective. You don't say take all of these things. Like let's say you're sponsored by First Form, your coaches, and they tell you take every single thing that they sell. That's a red flag. So you can ask them that during a consultation call, like, how many supplements, or, how do you go about recommending supplements, or are you not that big on it?
Yeah, I always tell my clients they can pick what they want. I'll tell them I want you to have a premium fish oil, a premium multivitamin, the essentials.
Probiotics.
Yeah, a very good probiotic.
Essentials.
Enhancing drugs. Okay, so more people use them than they say. There's nothing wrong with using some drugs.
If you're honest.
Yeah, and if you agree that it's something you want to help you get further, and you're okay with like all the
negative side effects.
Yeah, then go for it. Like no worries, no like some people
and you do your
judge,
research.
but whatever.
Do your research.
You have to do your own research.
Oh my gosh.
But there are
We're not
certain
saying
coaches.
do them.
Yeah, no. Certain coaches that really push it. Like maybe they know how to be the best prep coach ever, but they also have their clients usually on
all
stacks.
So
how are they supposed to know how to prep someone naturally?
And vice versa. If they've only prepped natural people and you're taking a performance enhancing drug and it's going to affect your peak week and it's going to affect, how fast you're cutting and your macros and everything, it's just important to know, like, if you're going to be on drugs, your coach needs to know how to work with clients on drugs. If you're going to be natural,
have to know you're on drugs.
Yeah, you have to be honest.
Oh my gosh, you have to tell them.
Yeah. And so it goes both ways. It's like, which route are you going to take? And it also depends on the division. Like bikini, you can be 100% natural. Let's see. We have, workout plans.
Ooh, workout plans, yeah.
Like how often are they going to change it and how detailed are they going to be?
Yes, and are they made for you or are they a PDF file?
Are they taking into consideration your injuries or maybe something that might hurt? Mm-hmm. Or are they
or
just
your
giving
training
everything?
style?
Yeah.
I mean, you have to think, okay, I was a sprinter and really athletic growing up. For me to lean out and see my best conditioning, I have to bring my conditioning level up to here. Hard training's not going to do anything for me. I have to add in sprints, I have to add in stairs, I have to add in outdoor HIIT, endurance, like crazy shit.
But other people who aren't adapted to just running or sprinting are going to see crazy results from it.
Yeah, crazy results.
It totally depends on your history. Like same with nutrition. Like you want to ask if they include your diet history. So all of these things matter. Same with cardio. Like if they implement different types of cardio for different goals or different body types, or if they have every single client do fasted cardio or steady state or HIIT, whatever it might be, or is it personalized, or do they have the same thing? And not necessarily saying that if they have all of their clients do fasted cardio it's bad. It's just something that you want to consider. This is my value. I wonder if they value the same thing.
Yeah, because some coaches actually don't make their clients do fasted cardio
or cardio at all.
Yeah.
I actually have someone coming to me who said, my coach messed up my peak week and they messed up my prep. She told me never implemented cardio through the entire prep.
How are you supposed to get conditioning without any cardio?
I've never heard of that.
No. I mean, but even for your cardiovascular health, like, oh my gosh, my 6-year-old clients I have, I give them 3 days a week, at least 20 minutes. Like, it's supposed to be good. 5 times a week, 25 minutes a day. That's recommended by the Heart Association.
Like ACE, FDA, whatever. I think the other option is like 3 times 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But still, like, to have a good heart, you do need like cardio training. So the last question is like off season. How do they structure your off season? Is it a meal plan? Is it IFYM? And another big thing is, does your coach want you to stay lean year round? Oh my gosh.
I personally want to reach out and give everyone that stays lean all year round a big hug because I don't know how you guys do it. But really, I want to reach out and say, please gain some weight.
And the
healthy
issue,
weight. You can be a few pounds. Literally 5 pounds.
Just a few pounds. Like, if your hormones are, you get them tested, your hormones are on, you still have your menstrual cycle, you feel good, you
have
feel
your sex
energized,
drive.
you have all of these things, and you look lean, I feel like it's probably okay. But whenever
you probably worked really hard to get it there.
Oh yeah.
Like really hard.
You probably have a decent amount of muscle mass. Like that's the issue that I see. There's coaches even in this area that they value being lean year round because some pro bikini competitors do. Well, let's think about pro bikini competitors.
Yeah, let's name the top one.
Angelica. One is she's not lean year round.
No, you see her off season, she looks amazing, but that's
she's
not how
shredded.
She is when she competes.
No, and two, she has all of the muscle mass she needs to be successful. If your coach has you on 50, 60 carbs during your off season, low calories, and you're maintaining 15 or lower % body fat, but you need to grow, red flag.
Is your off season regimen reflecting your future goals? You know, it's not a skinny mini contest. Like, we actually have quite a bit of muscle.
They value shape over everything.
Especially now.
Especially conditioning.
Look at the top competitors this year over the last few. Like, we're getting kind of ripped. Like, we're getting the lat spread, guys. Like, you better start working on these little babies.
Lats? Oh my gosh.
Fly away. Like, I mean, they're getting big.
Yeah. Does your coach expect you to compete year round, or do they have, the longevity in mind where let's compete, let's qualify for nationals, let's take 9 months off to grow, do a 3-month prep, and then compete in nationals? I feel like that would be less of,
Well, yeah. Does their vision match yours?
Yeah.
I mean, the first thing I ask when I really get a client who wants to do bikini, besides like normal shit, like once we get started working together, I'm like, okay, here's a list of shows this year. Are we competing this year? No. Okay, cool. Next year, what time frame? We'll go down to a time frame, and then I'll look at them and I'll say, okay, well, we need at least this amount of time to get your metabolism up. Then we need this much time to cut if you were to maintain this weight. You have to have a coach that's going to be realistic
and have a plan, not just go with
a real
the flow.
Plan. They have to plan it out for you almost, like, but with your 2 cents, right?
Yeah. It's precautions.
Yeah, things to just be aware of because it happens, and it happens.
It's scary.
So often.
It's so scary because you don't have to be certified in anything to be an online coach, which is fine for the coaches that take responsibility for their education. but it's not fine for those who are just out there to make a quick buck.
Oh yeah.
So all of these things are red flags and precautions that you need to take.
Yeah, and we're not saying you have to have multiple certifications or go to school for this, because you don't need all the things, but you do need a base. Like, you need to have something, right?
Yeah.
And whatever you have, practical use and knowledge and like just like the fundamentals like of living the lifestyle means a lot. So finding a coach who maybe, like, we said a male versus female, there's a lot of things about why you would pick one or the other. But are you an open person? Are you okay with showing your body almost naked to a male? Are you okay with like a male critiquing you,
or even doing your tan for you?
Yeah.
Like, physically touching your body. Like,
Yep.
not saying that they're going to sexually assault you, but knowing that it's a possibility.
Is your boyfriend okay with it?
Yeah. So male versus female is one of the biggest things. Like, I personally think having a female coach has been a blessing. Like,
oh yeah,
such
me
a
too.
blessing.
Their eye for details, like, your hair, your makeup, your lip color, your like everything.
Oh yeah. So that's a big thing. Another thing is like upfront payments.
Yeah.
And people scamming you. So
yeah. So this I saw a lot back home in Indiana. Most people would do a 3-month contract, get a cookie cutter plan, and never hear from their coach again. Like, I can't tell you how many times I was backstage and I'd hear a girl say, well, I just did my peak, however, because my coach never called me this week. Like, what?
I know someone here, and they were thrilled. They're like, well, I got to talk to my coach on the phone.
Oh yeah,
and I was like,
I've heard that before too. I'm like, what?
You're excited that you got to talk to your coach.
That's
red
a problem.
flag.
If you don't talk to your coach on the phone
ever,
that's a problem. Or if they don't offer to talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even if it's through messaging all the time, do you have their cell phone number? Like, there's, whew.
Not saying that upfront payments is a red flag necessarily, but you need to make sure that there's no other red flags before you go in for it, and really do your research. I mean, sometimes this might not be the best idea, but if you feel like it's necessary, like, you can reach out to their current athletes and ask, like, hey, like, I just wanted to see how your coaching experience has been with X.
If you're going to do a payment plan, like a contract, definitely do research. Because if you're doing month to month, you could drop someone. It's a little money wasted. But most contracts are more than 3 months. I mean, people get themselves locked in for 6 months to a year. And what happens if you argue? Like, there's no refunds.
Yeah, you signed the contract. There's your money.
And $3,000, $5,000, $6,000 for people sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, it gets really expensive.
I've had like multiple clients come to me. They paid in full, and their coach wasn't doing well for them, and they just had to pay my coaching fees on top of their previous coaching fees.
Yeah. I guess like one thing I do want to say though is, don't think it's always the coach's fault.
Mm-hmm. Oh, take responsibility. 100%.
Because we're living in the day and age right now where nothing's your own fault. Like, you're not seeing the results you want to see. Well, are you following the fucking plan? Let's be honest.
You didn't place well? Oh, well, it was rigged. I was robbed.
Yeah,
the judging was political. My coach messed up my peak week. Like, yes, all of these things are possible and they do happen, but ultimately take responsibility for your health. Take responsibility for like
your knowledge.
You choose your knowledge. Take responsibility for everything. And
it's
if
all
you
your
feel
fault.
You suck.
No, coaches do have faults.
Yeah.
But I do want to put that feeler out there, because that's something like I've noticed. It's a little it's like kind of hurtful sometimes when I see people leave their coaches just because they think maybe their macro plan's not as good as someone else's macro plan.
Yeah.
And it's like, I know that coach, their macro plan is
pretty solid.
Yeah, they're a good coach. Like,
did you check in? Did you talk to them about it? Communication. So
yeah, like always just reach out, say something.
Yeah,
like it's not
like the last thing we have on there is turnaround time. Like, because we were talking about reaching out to the coaches, reaching out to other girls. Like, do they have they produced results? Have they competed?
Yeah.
I've heard people being prepped by coaches that have never competed.
Oh yeah.
Like,
there's no way. They don't know the mental stress. They don't know the specific body parts to train. Like they don't, unless they're deep into this competing world, they don't get it.
Well, also it's like your body does not function the same when you're that lean and when you're on that few calories, or if you're overtrained. Like, and you're so much more injury prone. You're so much more likely to get sick. There's so many things that could go wrong, and you're gonna end up in the hospital, especially if they're dehydrating you, like, or doing some crazy peak week techniques. Like, it's scary how many people end up in the hospital for dehydration.
Yeah, I'm really glad that people are more aware now of crazy peak week protocols.
Oh my gosh.
You know, not saying that there's right and wrong, because there's so many different ways, but there are a few flags. I mean, just like you're saying, the not drinking water. Of course you're going to cut water. I'm not going to drink water while I'm getting on stage. But
there's some people who do, and they get away with it.
It
blows my mind, but their conditioning has to be crazy.
Your conditioning, you're perfect. Like, you're Olympia conditioning, you know. If you can roll into peak week and not change one single thing, your conditioning's great, and more power to you. Yeah. Most people aren't in that situation. Simple things like taking away someone's sodium. You know, just like there's so many little things. Like,
I feel like we've known not to take away sodium for at least like a decade or something. Yeah. But these old school bodybuilding techniques have been passed down generation to generation. And if there's no education, there's no one to break the cycle, then those techniques keep going on.
Talking about techniques and old bodybuilders.
Yeah, old school bodybuilding.
People who maybe are coaches that are more old school are out of touch with like the new science,
research.
And not even just the science and the research, but think about your posing.
Yeah. Oh my God. Oh, the posing.
Just like the simple things like soup cuts. You know, 4 years ago, I was wearing moderate cuts. That's all they wanted. I mean, I literally had like bikini on. You know, my boobs completely covered. I was like posing like, you know, old school like India Polinos. You know,
and it's evolved, and then you're stuck behind.
Yeah, and people are still teaching their clients
old school. Yeah, so it's like you got to make sure they're up to par. Another thing that they do, like these old school bodybuilding coaches, is they do super high protein.
Oh my gosh.
Low carb and low fat.
Yes, I've had girls come me on 180 grams of protein that weigh 120 pounds
or less.
They can't even take a shit because their whole entire digestive system is completely overloaded. Their kidneys can't keep up with any type of work.
You need either carbs or fats. You can't have low carb, low fat, or it's a recipe for disaster. Yeah. It's just
lack of knowledge.
These questions were not asked.
Yeah, and people are trying to be malicious. Like, we're not out here being coaches, you know. I mean, you know, there are a few that are trying to make the money. But other than that,
most people have good intentions. They're just uneducated. They're just
things change.
Oh, yeah. A lot.
Yeah.
So if you feel like you've asked these questions for yourself or your coach and something may or may not be a red flag, feel free to message us, because, you know, if you're not already with the coach, we can definitely help. If you are currently with the coach, there's some topics that we can help you with, some topics that we can't, but it doesn't hurt to ask.
I'm always here to help in the first place. You know, I have people reach out to me about simple things. You know, I'm not here to answer like every question in the world, but if it's something that you really need help with, like, we have the time to take to help you guys. So this is what we're here for. This is the whole reason why we're creating this channel. We just want to provide all the knowledge, like we said before. We don't want you to make the same mistakes we've made. I've had multiple coaches. I've seen other tactics. You know, there's just a lot.
We've seen a lot.
Yeah.
We've only been around a few years, but we've seen a lot.
Yeah.
So thanks, you guys, for watching again, and stay tuned for another episode.
Yeah, thank you so much. What is our next episode?
Our next episode is prepping for your prep.
Ooh, prepping for your prep.
Yeah, like
what could that mean?
Getting ready for a prep.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So stay tuned for that. Thank you again.